Sanje Juda Zoge Jonamdo, Janju Badu Dane Yapsu She, Dage Chen Soge Be Sona. Baba Benju Sanje Dubara Ju, Sanje Juda Zoge Jonamdo, Janju Badu Dane Yapsu She, Dage Chen Soge Be Sonam Je, Dola Benju Sanje Dubara Ju, Sanje Juda Zoge Jonam. Chanju Badu Dane Yapsu She, Dage Chen Soge Be Sonam, Dola Benju Sanje Dubara Ju. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha by my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha by my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha by my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Te Sham Datha Gato Yavatat Te Sham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamana Yesva Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Te Sham Datha Gato Yavatat Te Sham Chayo Evam Vati Mahashamana Yesva Om Ye Dharma Prabhavam Hetum Te Sham Datha Gato Yavatat Te Sham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamana Yesva. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Okay, continuation from where we left this morning, as to whether or not the infinite happiness is possible. This is the question. And this infinite happiness, in technical sense, it is referred to as Buddhahood, whether or not it is possible. For this, finally we need to keep in mind that this, what we call as Buddhahood, or the infinite happiness, it is there within us in the form of seed. The true nature of mind is of that nature, but why it doesn't manifest as of yet, as of now, is because that it is mixed with the defilements. Let's say the gold, when mixed with the soil, when mixed with the mud, you don't see the gold glowing. Although the nature of the gold is to glow, but we don't see it glowing because the glow has been obstructed by the mud. Likewise, our mind, although it has the nature to feel infinite happiness, but it is blocked from experiencing that by the mud of the mental defilements. So, what kind of mental defilements? This is the question. In short, we see that this is extremely important, that our job, whatever, and say whether you are Easterner, Westerner, French, non-French, or Buddhist, non-Buddhist, male, non-male, female, whatever, our job is to finally manifest that, let manifest the true nature, the potential within you, to feel total fearlessness and to feel the infinite happiness. This is very important. And we'll come to learn that in both cases, the remedy, ultimate remedy to get rid of the mental defilements is the wisdom of emptiness. This is the answer. Wisdom of emptiness. And again, don't follow blindly, that we must gain conviction. So when you wake up from the sleep of ignorance by seeing the reality as it is, that everything is coming from your mind, nothing really from the object. From the object is all empty, emptiness. From the object is all empty, but it's all coming from your projecting mind. This is what we have to realize. When we realize this partially, you attain nirvana or you attain fearlessness. When you realize it fully, then all the mental defilements are removed and you experience the infinite happiness. So this is one way to do. Then there's no compromise in this. That it is this wisdom to see the emptiness of the objectivity, that your mind, mental defilements will be removed. But this wisdom must be supported by, the driving force, driving energy. For this, we see that to experience the infinite happiness is to become Buddha. So the desire to experience the infinite happiness, desire to experience this Buddhahood must be there. So this desire, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, that is known as bodhicitta. So this wisdom must be supplemented by this bodhicitta, the motivation of the bodhicitta. This is so important. Likewise, in order to be free from the fears of life, again there must be the desire that I must be free from the miseries of suffering. That desire to be freed from the misery of suffering is known as renunciation. Again, this wisdom must be supplemented by the wisdom of the renunciation in order to attain the fearlessness. Okay, so this we're talking about this, the driving force. Wisdom of emptiness we're going to study separately under the Mahamudra. And then this driving force in the form of renunciation, in the form of bodhicitta. Now in the form of bodhicitta is that the bodhicitta, which is described as the altruistic feeling of affection, which wishes to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. This is bodhicitta, which means that the underlying or the nature of this mind is to embrace all the beings. Now, today, if I ask you, does your mind embrace all the beings? Today, does your mind embrace all the beings? Okay, this is a question. This is a question. And why do you have to embrace all the beings? Again, never ever take for granted, because my teacher said it, because His Holiness said it, because the Buddha said it. No. What they said is very precious, but they must be subjected to scrutiny. They must be subjected to analysis. That is so important. Without analysis, if you take blindly, then your practice will become very shallow and so weak, it will never grow. So you must gain conviction in what these great enlightened beings taught. Okay, the universal love and affection. So we see that if you look at how many you had been through this, what we call as the day one on this earth. Day one you were born on this earth. The first day of your birth on this earth. How many you went through that experience? How many you went through that? All of us. All of us. Unless you came from somewhere else, some other world system. Otherwise, we all had that experience. Day one you were born on this earth. Day one born on this earth, how many cried? Raise hands. How many cried? Some of you may not know idea. I don't know. But you must have cried. If not cried, somebody will slap you. Slap you to make you cry. Without crying, you have respiratory problem. So to make your respiration good, they will slap you to make you cry, and then your respiration becomes perfect. Okay, so when you cry, you do not cry that, okay, my respiration problem with the respiration, somebody slapped me. Right? I don't want this pain and I'm having the pain. This is how we began our life. This is reality. So my question to you, how many you embrace all the sentient beings? When I ask this question, I'm asking you to be very realistic. Discover who you are. We should know who you are. Then on that basis we can progress. If you don't know who you are, right? Some people, they are so naive when they enter into Buddhism. Oh yeah, everything is so good, everything is divine, nobody's bad. Then when you actually meet with somebody who's very nasty, then you enter, I quit Buddhism, right? So this is where you are being totally unrealistic. We should be very realistic. So in this connection, when I said that how many you embrace all the beings, to what extent you embrace all the beings, when I said this, in this connection I took you to day one you were born on this earth. We all cried. Cried, not because that, oh, the other baby is not being fed, please feed the baby, and then not fed, then you cry. No. I am hungry, I am thirsty, I am feeling the pain. I. That is a self-centered attitude there. So don't feel shy to discover that, oh yes, I began my life with self-centered attitude. Don't feel shy. You have to know the reality. And deep inside, the true nature of mind is not self-centered. True nature of mind is so beautiful. True nature of mind is all-encompassing compassion, but it is veiled. It's being veiled by the veil of the self-centered attitude. So there's a way by which we can get into the self-centered attitude, and then the true nature will become manifest. So how to make it manifest? Okay, how many you notice in the small children? In the small children, 2 years old, 1 year old, particularly I would say 1 year old child who demonstrate, say, joy, some who demonstrate anger, some who demonstrate the cunningness, some who demonstrate extremely kind, sharing attitude. How many notice these different mindsets in the children? Which sense? 2 years old, 1 year old, 3 years old. Yes. When you see that, one point, in fact, the two things really struck me with, wow, this is the former life. There was one little boy who must be aged 2, and his father was just checking his anger, the degree of anger of this young boy, 2 years old boy, and the anger is high quality. His anger is high quality. I was wow. Just 2 years old. Who must have taught this anger? Even his father did not know how to express this anger. And his mother, so calm, gentle. I don't know where he brought this anger from. Where did he learn this from? So the father, he got hold of the father's mobile. And the father very confidently and very slowly, confidently grabbed at his hand and snatched his mobile, very confident like this, and took it away. And he became very angry. And the father kept it somewhere reachable to the child. And the child challenged his father by grabbing at it like this. That too, not very fast, the way the father did, very slowly, and got it and put it like this. And the father again came to his hand and took it away from him very elegantly. Then on his face you could see the anger there. Wow. Just 2 years old. Anger is of high quality. Wow. This is amazing. Yeah. So this is who we are. Who we are. And some, they're extremely kind, sharing. Some children say, we'll give 2 chocolates, and there's another child, he or she would share it. And some, 3 chocolates, 4 chocolates. And they say, give 1 to your brother? No? Wow, look at these. So, this is how we to discover yourself, who you are. But keep in mind, these are not your true nature. Your true nature is so pure, so compassionate. Yet, it will not manifest on its own. If this is some people who are naturally kind, some people who are naturally very selfish by conventional standards, If you're naturally kind, doesn't mean that you have the bodhicitta. But if you practice bodhicitta, there's a tendency that you will generate bodhicitta quicker. But it will not happen naturally. Don't forget it. So this bodhicitta, this extremely beautiful mind, this you'll experience only if you practice one of the two methods. The sevenfold cause-effect method and the method of equalizing self and others, these two methods. Only if you practice these two, then you will see that your mind is expanding. Otherwise, naturally gifted compassion that you have, naturally gifted gentleness, calmness that you have, is not sufficient for to say that this is bodhicitta. No, bodhicitta has to be cultivated. And of course, if you practice bodhicitta in the formal lives, then that's a different story. There are cases where as young children, age 3, 4, 5, demonstrated bodhicitta, extreme compassion. There are anecdotes of such beings. Later they came to be known as highly respected teachers, enlightened beings are there. So if you are naturally gifted with compassion, don't feel complacent. Don't think that, okay, bodhicitta was, I already have it. Don't think like this. You have to practice it. You have to study them separately, practice them, gain conviction, practice them, and then you'll see that what you later acquire, the mindset of compassion that you get is very different from what you naturally are gifted with. These are very different. Okay, now the next point is, say this bodhicitta, how does the question naturally that will naturally come to you is, how can one have this bodhicitta? How can we have this universal compassion? How can we have this? And for this, there are two methods taught by the Buddha himself. Two methods, and of course systematized by the later teachers, later enlightened beings, initially taught by the Buddha himself. So the first method is known as the sevenfold cause-effect method to generate bodhicitta. Sevenfold cause-effect method to generate bodhicitta. And the second one is known as the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. Method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. These are two methods. And the first method which the Buddha taught was the passed down to this teaching. The lineage of this teaching was passed down to Arya Maitreya. The sevenfold cause-effect method was passed down to Arya Maitreya, and from Arya Maitreya, Arya Sangha inherited this lineage. Then Acharya Vasubandhu, Arya Sangha's younger brother. Then eventually to the 11th century great teacher, the Lama Selingpa from Indonesia, in 11th century AD. And then from Lama Selingpa, Lama Adisha Dibangara Sri Gyana got it. Lama Adisha. So our Lama Adisha brought this teaching, the whole genre of teaching, to Tibet. And this is how we got it from His Holiness, and now we have this tradition still alive without any interruption. So this is the first part. Then the second part is the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. This method was again taught by the Buddha himself and passed down to Arya Manjushri. From Arya Manjushri to Arya Nagarjuna. From Arya Nagarjuna, if you read Arya Nagarjuna's text like the Precious Garland and Bodhicitta Vivarana, when you read these, you will see that the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others is what you find explained there. And then from Arya Nagarjuna down to his students, and eventually to the 8th century great teacher, Bodhisattva Shantideva. 8th century master, Bodhisattva Shantideva. And then from 8th century through the unbroken lineage passed down to again Lama Adisha, the Lama Selingpa from Indonesia. And Lama Selingpa, in fact, the Tibetan Buddhist Center Singapore organized several of my retreats, group retreats in Indonesia. The first one was in Bali, second one was in Jambi. That place where Lama Adisha received teachings from Lama Selingpa. So we went there, and now it was all nothing left there. Only some the ruins were left there. Very sad. You can imagine that those days Lama Selingpa must be, going around, and Lama Disha must be receiving teachings from him, and then many of the students around memorizing the text, debating, studying, meditating. It must be so vibrant with those activities. So now you go there, it's very desolate, nothing there. Even the people there, the native people there, they have no clue of the stories of the past, their ancestors. They had no clue. They were all Muslims, and they were all young boys and girls just taking care of the museum of the ancient things, and even they have no clue the past. It's very sad. So we went there. We were about like 80 people there, 80 or 82 people there to do the retreat, and we did it in a resort, and then we also went to the actual site of the ruins of the monastery. We went there to pay respect to Lama Selingpa and Lama Disha, and just to mentally talk to them that we are your heirs. We came here to inherit your teachings. We came here to disseminate the amazing teachings, the panacea, to heal all the ailments of the sentient beings, which you taught once on this land. We are the inheritors of this tradition. We came here to tell you that we will hold this tradition alive and disseminate to other sentient beings. So this was like, going there to express our gratitude towards those great teachers. Okay, and so the Lama Selingpa and Lama Disha again brought to Tibet. In other words, it says that these two traditions, there's a confluence of the two traditions at the point of Lama Selingpa and Lama Disha. Okay, so with this, yesterday, in fact, as a part of the Nalanda diploma course, we did the first method of the sevenfold cause-effect method to generate bodhicitta. We did that yesterday, and so I know that many of you were missing for this teaching, but today I'm not really going to go into very specific the methods, because these will require more time. And why we were able to complete this method of the sevenfold cause-effect method in just one session is for the reason that we already laid the ground since earlier sessions, so it became very easy for the Nalanda certificate course students. Okay, so with this, let's say whether or not, or how to cultivate this universal compassion which embraces all other sentient beings living on the side, including the difficult people. And then you have your personal questions, related to attending to in hospices, attending to your relatives, or who are going through terminal illness and so forth. Just feel free to raise these questions in the class. Okay, so the main question is the difficult people is difficult. How can we embrace them with love and affection? This question, practically speaking, how can we embrace with love and affection? This question. Okay, my question to you is, what do you think is the trigger that makes you to feel connected with somebody, that makes you feel close to somebody? What do you think is a trigger? So what would be that force? What would be that mechanism by which your mind feels close to somebody else? Anyone? Just give your opinions. Yes, here.
To be understood by the other person, to be listened.
Say it again.
That the other person is listening to you and that is also understanding.
If the other person listens to you with understanding, but if the other person doesn't listen to you?
I'm sorry?
If the other person doesn't listen to you, doesn't understand you, then?
Then I try to connect.
Okay, so then you try to make him understand. You have to understand me.
Okay. Understand each other then.
Each other. Thank you. Empathy. Okay. But some difficult people, very complicated. Right? Really difficult. Very nasty.
Yeah, but if I think of their suffering, because if I think, yes, they are nasty because they are suffering.
Okay.
Another state of mind.
Wonderful. You see that, but then there's somebody, you are very nice. Otherwise, you're in Virginia. Virginians are usually nice. Two Virginians, both are nice. Yeah, otherwise some people, they think that you are so nasty to me, you are suffering, I'm glad that you are suffering. Right? I wish you have more suffering. So this is how people think. You are very nice, your thing is very different. You are suffering, so I feel empathy to you. But there are some people who feel even more happy to see that the nasty person is suffering. Okay, anyone else? Yes, Aude?
Le fait d'avoir vécu les if we experience the same experience as these people, if we have in the past experienced the same situation.
Okay, that is also good. Yes, I've experienced this pain. You the younger ones, you should also go through the pain. Don't go for the easy shortcut happy. Right? You should not be happy. Because when we were young, we went through difficulty, you should have the same experience. Right? Some people like this. Some people are very different. Oh, when we were young, right? When I was Aude's age, I went through a difficulty. Oh, you don't have to go through difficulty, right? If you face this difficulty, let me know. Some people like that. Some people opposite. Aude, hey, you seem to be happy. You're young. Young should not be happy. When I was young, I was not happy. Right? You should, why you are happy? Okay, so the point is, it works for some people, it does not work for others. Anyone? Okay, over there. Kunsama? Huh.
When you realize that you get benefit from the other person.
Wonderful, okay. That's interesting. When you realize that you get benefit from the other person, automatically your mind will feel close to the person. Okay, how many of you had experience? How many of you liked chocolate when you were very young? Raise hands. Okay, how many of you, your mind feels so connected towards the person who brings chocolate for you? Raise hands. Yes, this is what Kusama is saying. Good. Here. Tomer.
If I can see a part of myself in the person.
Okay, like how?
It can be gross or subtle, but how, for example, with my mother, for example, I see a part of myself in my friend, in my mother.
Oh no, how do you see part of you in me? You are very different people.
You are my teacher.
Uh-huh.
So it's a part of me.
I see, but then it works that way also. You are a nasty person, right?
That's more subtle. It's hard. You are a nasty person, but I have problems too. So if I link my problems with yours, I can be more relaxed.
Okay.
But it's harder.
Okay, so what Thomas is saying is that, so when I see that somehow you're connected with me, you're my teacher, you're my friend, you are from the retreat, we are in the same group, so that way you can empathize very easily. So what about those people who are not connected?
It's why I'm here to...
Perfect. So this is one here to learn. Wonderful, Thomas. Okay, yeah.
That is a good way to practice patience when somebody is giving us trouble, and to understand them and to be patient and to see that he has good reason to be like that, and to be loving instead of reacting by hatred.
Okay, so that we get opportunity to practice patience because of the nasty person. Very good. Anyone else? Yes. Colin. Okay, atomic practice. Good. Anyone else? Okay. So now, this is there are two. Say broadly speaking, in Buddhism, there are two broad teachings. One, the teaching to improve your cognitive skills, which is wisdom, and the skill with your PR, public relation. This is known as affective quality of your mind. There's affection, love and affection. So these are the two broad teachings of the Buddha. These are the two wings of the bird. If you have these two very effectively cultivated, then you can fly towards the Buddhahood very quickly. So these are two wings of the bird. Okay. How many have the experience of being very close to somebody, genuinely feeling so close to somebody with hands? Very good. Okay. Now my question to you: did you have the same feeling when you were 1 day old? Did you have this feeling? Very close feeling to somebody when you were 1 day old. The moment you're born, did you have this same feeling? Oh, this is Dr. Patrick. I knew him from a past life. Right? Did you do that? Day one? No, we did not even do this to your mother, who gave birth to you. We did not do that. How come that you have developed such an intense feeling of affection towards that person now? Anybody? That you don't turn to anybody, it is your experience. How come that you have developed this intense feeling of closeness towards that person now? It might have taken you like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 5 years, 3 years, it doesn't matter. But what made you do, how come that this feeling of closeness is developed over this extended period of time? Anyone? Yes, here. N, right? N. Any? Yes, Ani. An. Love. What made you feel this love? Anyone? Yes.
C'est l'envie de retrouver ou de reproduire cette proximité qu'on a déjà connue.
The wish to reproduce this closeness that we already know before.
Okay. So how did you know that? How did you know this close proximity before? What made you feel that before?
En ressentant le bienfait, le bonheur, la satisfaction.
Feel the satisfaction and happiness.
Oh, so by doing this, you get the satisfaction and you get the happiness. But first you have to do it. Right? First we have to do it. To do that, we don't do it to anybody, but we do it to only some people. What made us to do that to some people, why not to all?
Because I want to protect my integrity. I want to protect myself.
So the best thing is, if you want to protect integrity, you do the same thing to all. That's even better.
Are you sure?
Of course. Okay, everybody. What makes you, okay, raise your hands again. Who since childhood till today, that at least you had one experience of a genuine feeling of closeness towards somebody, recent. Be it during your childhood, be it during adult, young adult, or now. Okay, what made you, did you have the same feeling when you were 1 day old? You don't have this feeling. How did it happen? What triggered that feeling to you? Yes.
It's about, when we speak about a newborn one day, it's said that those newborns, they survive because of attachment. Attachment is like attachment is nothing.
Sorry, your name?
Daniel.
Daniel, okay. Daniela.
It's very precious.
Okay. Daniel, then my question is there anybody to whom you feel so close at one point in time? Is there anybody? This is my question. If the answer is yes, do you have the same feeling of closeness when you were 1 day old? Answer is no. My next question, how did you build this feeling of closeness to that person over this stretch of time? This is my question. Don't just speak generally. You getting it? You should be very specific.
By learning, it's a process of knowledge.
Good.
Step by step.
Has been very kind towards me.
Somebody, that person has been very kind towards me. Mine naturally feel close towards him or her. Because the person shows kindness, mine feels close. Okay, how many agree with this? Raise hands. Yes, this is exactly the same thing that happened to me also. How I feel so connected with this person. For example, let's say that for me, let's say, when I think about my mother, maybe the imprints, they are so strong in my mind, although I don't have a clear recollection of how my mother was so kind like this. I don't have any clue. I lost my mother when I was just 5 years old. But the imprints were very strong, and when I hear from my dad, from my sister, and from my aunts, how my mother was so caring, loving, always taking me wherever she goes, then from there I could imagine how loving she was. So when you feel this love from somebody, your mind automatically becomes very close. Okay, how many agree with this? Raise hands. Okay, listen, how does this, my next question to you, how does this young child know that the other person is loving to you? Raise hands. How does this young child knows that the other person is loving to you, like so your mom and so forth?
Because the child has happy feelings.
The child gets happy feelings related to that person, right? Okay, like what? Example? What kind of happy feelings? Yes, that's perfectly true.
When you feed him. When you feed him.
Yes, the child has the hunger, the pain of hunger, the mother feeds, and then your hunger is gone, you're happy. What else?
And she gives some compliments.
Yes, right. You dirty the wall. You dirty the wall. And everybody just stares at you like this, and your mother compliments. Wow, beautiful painting, beautiful drawing. Nobody compliments. Only your mother and your dad compliments. That I'm not too sure. Sometimes yes, the dad does, but mother for sure will compliment. In most cases, will compliment. Yes, that's amazing, right? Okay. So what else?
Tenderness.
La protects.
Protects. There's a tenderness there. Tenderness given to you, protection is given to you, right? Say when there's a thunderstorm, instantly the mother will grab you, right? And there's so much of fear, instantly you feel that you want the protection of the mother, right? Okay. So from all this, do you agree with me? With what she said, and what the Laura said, and what Thomas said, right, and what Mary said, that finally that we feel, we feel this closeness when we see that the other person makes you happy. Other person is genuinely there to make you happy by giving you what you need. In other words, I need something, it comes from this person. So that is a source of benefit. When you see the other person as a source of benefit, your mind goes closer towards that benefit. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Okay, so this is what Kunsala said right from the beginning. So when you see the other person as a source of benefit, this is when your mind feels close to. And how you see that as a benefit, then there's all this elaboration coming to being. In other words, the basic principle, how we cultivate this unconditional love, bodhicitta, the basic principle is to see others in the light of source of benefit, others as a source of benefit for you. This is so important. You getting it? Source of benefit. When you're able to see others as a source of benefit, your mind automatically go closer to that. In fact, so these things, just watch in your life, look at how the small children behave. From there you can see this very, very easily. Right? But Goswami said that we see the others as source of benefit, automatically your mind go closer to that. You want that benefit. You want that benefit, your mind goes closer. This is known as feeling close. Feeling close in English is known as love. Feeling love and affection. Okay. So with this, yes.
I have a question for you. Also, we can feel close to people, not because we are benefiting from them, but because we share the vision. We admire the way they behave, and we feel like when we see you, we feel close because we want to be like you. But you know what I mean? It's not a benefit; it's more admiration.
Okay, let's say that some people say you are environmentalist, right? And somebody comes, oh, that tree blocks the sun here. Cut the tree. You'll be unhappy, right? And then the Laura comes, right? And William comes, says, oh, who said that this tree is going to be cut? Oh, that person is saying, no, tree should not be cut. You're so happy. Now you feel close to them.
Exactly.
Right? Not because that they are benefiting you, yeah, but you feel that you are sharing a same mindset. Okay. That's also true. So it's not a benefit. Okay, look. So when you see that the people, their thought processes flow with yours, their thought processes are parallel with yours, are you happy or not?
Very happy.
Very happy. Very happy. Is it benefit or not? Is benefit or not? So how did you get this benefit? Happiness. Because of the two. So these two are the source of benefit. Although they don't give you chocolate, but they give you a mental happiness. So this is the meaning of the benefit. So therefore, again, this will also the fact that you see out of so many people, there are one person, two persons, three persons whose thinking tallies with yours. Tallies with yours, you feel very comfortable. You feel the strength. So that's a benefit.
When I see people can be benefits to me, I want to use them, but with no love. Sometimes it's like a manager with his employees, or some person with girls or with men too. They want to use others.
Okay. What Thomas is saying is very sensitive thing, right? Okay. What Thomas is saying is that, let's say we hear of the people who are opportunists, who take advantage of others. So they see that you can be a benefit for the person, and the person is very exploitative, can exploit you, and don't feel laugh, but exploit you, right? So in this case, simply by seeing somebody's source of benefit doesn't mean that your mind feel close to the person. You can become exploitative, right? Okay, this is a serious question. Anybody who can respond to this point? He brought a very important point. Anybody who can? So now, if there's Thomas, the question shatters our, you say we cannot give answer to this, then our basic principle is being shattered. Okay, anybody who would like to give answer to this? Tomorrow is a very important point. What we said is that, okay, particularly Kusamba, what we said thus far is that when you see somebody as an object of benefit, then your mind goes closer towards that object. This mind going closer to the object is known as feeling of closeness, feeling of affection. But there are people who see somebody as an object of benefit instead of mind feeling close and affectionate, but becoming so exploitative, opportunist, taking advantage of this and just dump you when you are not in use. So how do you explain this question? Anyone?
Il me semble voir l'autre comme une source de bienfait sans pour autant l'aimer. Ça veut dire que l'amour, c'est en plus.
It seems that love is something extra. You can see someone as a source of benefit without feeling love, and love can be something extra.
Okay, then it becomes a little more complicated. Then how to build this love? How to build this extra love without necessarily having to see somebody's object of benefit?
Wanting to benefit him too, to respond.
So, okay, you are a very nice girl. What Thomas brings up is a very complicated question. Somebody who's an opportunist, somebody who takes advantage of somebody else's compassion. So how can this person develop compassion? This is a very serious question. Okay, anybody? Kunsala?
I'm not too sure, but His Holiness always said that you have to be very, systematic and very reflection when you be kind, because you have to be kind and you have to be wise also. So if you know that the other is taking advantage of your kindness, then you have to let that person know, because he is doing the non-virtues for himself. So just be kind but be wise also.
Okay, so what Kusama you are saying is a different issue. It's about how to deal with somebody who is difficult, or somebody to whom you give compassion, but the person reciprocates in a negative way. How to deal with such people? That is a different story. So what we're saying is that when you see what we said thus far, what I endorsed, is that when you feel somebody's object of benefit, source of benefit, your mind automatically feels close. But trauma is challenging. That is not necessarily the case. There are some people who are opportunists, who see that you are a source of benefit and your mind doesn't go there, you take advantage and dump you. So this is a very serious question. In fact, these questions, if you're able to address these questions, your conviction in the compassion becomes very solid grounded. You getting it? If you cannot address these questions, until these questions come up, you find you feel yourself okay. But when these questions hit you, then your ground becomes shaken.
Yeah, in response to Thomas's question, I think it's mostly a question of self-awareness, right? To be aware whether it's a genuine compassion from the other person or a genuine kindness from the other person, or whether there's an ulterior motive, even if the other person isn't aware of it themselves. Having a high capacity for self-awareness.
Okay, sorry, your name?
Stephen.
Okay, Stephen, thank you. In fact, I agree with what Stephen said, but as I said earlier, all these points, particularly with the very challenging questions coming, these are very precious questions. When you respond to these questions, you get answers, then your conviction becomes very stable, no matter what, it doesn't matter. Because otherwise, what tends to happen is that you see some teacher, elegant, very nice, and you feel connected, and then till the belief is shaken by some very powerful questions like what Thomas said, okay. The moment these questions come, then your basic belief can be shattered. So these questions are very precious. Okay, so what Stephen said, I agree with Stephen. Oftentimes, so while I share my thoughts, you're also requested to just see how to correlate this with your own life experience. Oftentimes, people, say in this world, people say that you don't really find good people. The basic nature of the human being is very selfish. People talk about the selfish genes. And with this kind of attitude, when you see the other person's source of benefit, okay, if I be friend with this person, then I'll get this benefit, and then you try to be friend. And then when you see that person is no more able to give the benefit, you dump the person, right? This is where the basic principle is wrong within the individual. That the basic nature of the human being is not gentle, it's not kind, it's selfish. He's selfish, she is selfish, I'm selfish. Right? What I get benefit, I'll take it. And he or she will also take benefit from me. Right? When I'm no more use for the other person, he or she will dump me. Right? This attitude comes to many people, where this person does not really feel the genuine, the love and affection. As who is that? You? The love, extra love. Katrina. So this is what Catherine said, the genuine love. So as Stephen said, that this awareness that when you truly feel that, okay, by the way, to make it not too complicated, let me ask the Thomas a question, and then you also reflect. Let's say that you get, say, a person is opportunist, and the person A gets benefit from person B, and the person A, when the person B cannot give the benefit, the person A will dump the person B, let's say. And if the person A is given a choice between, okay, so I will give you $1,000, and this money you cannot give, you cannot keep. This is to be given to somebody. Will you give it to person B, from whom you are getting the benefit, or person C, who is being very nasty to you? To whom will you give? You will say person B. You're getting it? Could you follow what I said? Let me repeat it. Say, person A, person B, person C. Person A is you. Person A, okay, not you. Person A is very selfish person, opportunist, who taking advantage of others. And now is the time person A is taking advantage from person B. And person B is very kind. But person A is ready to dump the person B when the person B cannot help the person A anymore. Whereas person C is very nasty towards person A. And then, say the Venerable Elizabeth comes and give 1,000 euros to person A. So this 1,000 euros is to be given to somebody, not to keep yourself. Given to somebody. To whom will you give? Person B, who is helping you, or person C, who is being very nasty to you? No doubt person A will say, I'll give it to person B, not person A. Which means that although the degree of love and affection is not so advanced, but you do see that he or she feels closer towards you than to the other person. So this, when you see the benefit from somebody, your mind automatically goes closer. Then the next part is what Stephen and what Catherine said, is that when you genuinely feel that other person is so genuine in you, the giving love and affection, then you see that your mind will surrender. This is extremely beautiful. Oftentimes we become opportunist because we believe that the world is, you should be selfish. The world is selfish. The world is dark. There's no good people. This is the belief. And this belief will be changed when you feel somebody's genuine love. This is one thing. Then the next part is let's say that what about the difficult people? how can you then feel love and affection towards different people? Different people not give you love, genuine love. How will you feel love and affection towards that? So for this, this is so important. This is so important. And then just see to yourself how your mind feels connected to somebody. Say, for example, your affection may shift from one person to another person, or your affection may expand towards more and more people. It differs. When that happens, just observe your mind. How does your mind behave in that way? And particularly seeing the situations where, say, even the deep inside, in other words, deep inside all of us, all the people, all the beings, including the tiny insects, the true nature of the mind is so loving and caring. And how do you know that? How do you know that? For example, let's say Hitler. Hitler has his own circle of family. His wife, his children are there, and his parents were there. And if his parents were so loving, of course he would be, doing everything that he gives his heart to his parents, to his wife, to his children, right? So, seeing that there's a danger that he's going to be attacked, he would think how to protect his children and his family, right? So this is something we have to think of. That even what we classify as a heartless person, he or she has a circle of family members. How come that he or she feels this feeling of closeness towards that? There's something so beautiful. And then the other one is what Stephen said, that the awareness. When you know that your true nature is so pure meaning that when that purity comes out, why people are nasty, tell me. What do you think is the reason why people are nasty towards others? Anyone? Any?
Because of suffering one day in their life.
You see you feel the suffering, and then what?
And then you react not necessarily with love.
So you think that how to get rid of this problem is by defending yourself. How to defend it? Easiest thing is being nasty towards others. So this is what they think is in ways to get rid of your own suffering, right? How many agree with any raise hands? And raise hands? Yes, it's a mechanism. You think that this is a mechanism by which to protect yourself, and in actuality, this is all ignorance. If you realize that instead of being defensive and being nasty towards others, if you cultivate genuine affection, then the suffering subsides, your agitation subsides, your happiness grows. When you realize this, then you see that this misconception of how to defend yourself stops, and then you become very objective. Where the benefit comes, your mind flows. Okay, then the most beautiful part is that as you practice this, as you embrace the more the more number one, of course, it's not that I have to love others so that I'll be happy. No. So first you see the benefit. What benefit I get? So when I get benefit, and alongside benefit and fear, threat, both come together, then you're a little cautious. But it's only benefit. What we see as threat is actually benefit. Then you don't feel the threat. In other words, when you see things as benefit from others, then the benefit, there are various kinds. Right? For example, somebody giving chocolate, this is one benefit. Somebody saying nice words to you, this is another benefit. Then another benefit which we don't really like is surgery. We don't like it. Small children, they don't like it. Elders, they don't like it. Small children, they don't like it, but they go through it because they trust their parents. They trust the parents. Parents love, and the parents say, "Okay, my child go," and the child goes. Although the child fears, and the elders, they don't like it. Yet they go it because they see a greater benefit, long-term benefit afterwards, post-surgery, the benefit. So, in other words, when you see the benefit in different levels, so where your thinking is more and more matured, then you can see the more and more benefit. So, more nasty the other person, more the benefit you feel. When you feel that benefit, particularly the extremely, rare, precious benefit, which you otherwise cannot get from normal ways, you will feel that is exceptionally precious, and you will feel connected. Who is that? That's the difficult people. Difficult people. Because it is only through the difficult people you learn how to overcome the difficulties. So with this, you see that only when you learn how to overcome your own selfishness. Right? Difficult people, when you encounter with difficult people, so what is your reaction? You also become defensive. Right? In actuality, who is acting within you? Self-centered attitude acting within you when you become defensive. So whereas, so let's say that, okay, tell me if I'm to, okay, this is going to be a little complicated. At the same time, if could follow is very precious. So let's say there's somebody so nasty. What's the problem with you? Anyone? Okay, how many of you don't like somebody being nasty to your sense? Including myself, I don't like somebody nasty. What's the problem if somebody's nasty? Just speak very honestly.
Makes me unhappy.
Makes me unhappy, right? Makes me unhappy. How?
We don't feel respected.
Oh, the person doesn't respect me, right? Person does not respect me. So when somebody respects you, you're happy. So when somebody does not respect you, you're unhappy, right? Okay, is there any possibility whereby, so this calmness of the mind when somebody doesn't respect you, right? So which is a better situation where you can maintain this calmness in an environment where people respect you, not respect you. In both cases, you maintain your calmness. One option. Another option is where when people respect you, you're calm. When people don't respect you, you feel agitated. Right? This is another scenario. Of the two scenarios, which you prefer?
I'd rather keep my calm and process it inside.
No, this is not my question. My question is, I give you only two choices. The first choice is where you meet with nasty people or decent people who respect you, who don't respect you. In both cases, you are able to maintain very calm and peaceful. This is one scenario. Another scenario where you meet decent people who respect you, you feel calm. You meet with nasty people who don't respect you, you feel agitated. This is the second scenario. Which scenario do you want? Huh? Are you sure? Okay. If you want the second scenario, your identity give you is already there in the world. Right? First scenario, you don't find the world. You have to create it yourself. How to create it? How to create it? You have to create it. Somehow you have to learn how to maintain this calmness even when you meet with a nasty person. If you can learn this from one person, with one person, once you train with one person, for example, say, oh, I need to become the world's fastest person in the world. Who's the fastest person today? Finished. Who's next?
He has records, but he's retired. So.
No. I'm talking about who's world record holder. Usain Bolt. Okay. No, I must be the world record holder. So what is his record? 9.3? Or let's say 9.3 second. 9.3 second. 100 meters in 9.3 seconds. Right? Okay, I have to learn, which means I have to learn to run 100 meters in minimum 9.2 seconds, right? So you learn it in France. You practice in France. If you can practice in France and you're able to run 100 meters, 9.2 second, or let's say 9 exact, right? Then you're a world record holder. But what about if you're in, say, Germany, right? Doesn't matter. Because once you succeed in one place, most likely you will succeed wherever you go in the world. You're getting it? Likewise, if you succeed this, to tackle the different situation where you can create this environment, where you meet with different person, good people, any problem, your mind is calm under any situation. For this you need training. You cannot get it easily. You have to train it. How do you train it? Training with one person. You train with one person. If you succeed it, you succeed with all the thousands of nasty people. No problem. All problems are solved. All 1,000 problems are solved. Because wherever you go, Germany, Italy, France, Spain, South America, North America, Canada, Japan, nasty people are there. Tibetans also. Buddhists, Christians, Muslims, nasty people there, right? You have thousands. The world is dark. Wherever you go, there's nasty people. Now you fix one problem, you fix thousands of problems. You getting it? Okay. So is that person kind to you or not? That you'll be able to enjoy this peace wherever you travel. Who's ever contributed to this peace? Would you feel grateful to that person or not? Yes. Who's that person? That is the difficult person. So that is how that person gave you is a great source of benefit for you, greatest of the benefit for you. If you can truly think like this, it's so precious. It's so precious. But meanwhile, we have to keep in mind that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, he said one thing, that some people, they ask His Holiness that Your Holiness, you talk about compassion all the time, but in real life it's very different. You feel compassionate towards somebody, people start taking more advantage of you. So what should I do? And His Holiness says very simply in public teachings, His Holiness said that, okay, when a mad dog comes, don't say compassion, run away. Because the mad dog comes, don't say compassion, run away. You have to know the situation. To what extent is your spiritual development? If your development is very low, don't say that, wow, this practice is so precious, I don't mind sitting with the very nasty people around, the toxic people around. That's a great opportunity. You see this idea, you will become crazy after 1 week. So you have to know your level of spiritual growth. If you're very low, stay away from those people. Your spiritual reality is low, stay away from those people. If your spiritual reality is quite, say like 60%, then you can be with those people who are 60% toxic. If your spiritual reality is 80%, then you can be with those people who are toxic 80%. Right? 90% no. 80%. And 60 below, you feel compassionate. You're getting it? So this is how you have to know yourself, then accordingly be in the environment to take advantage of this situation. You're getting it? This, by the way, this is so precious. It's for this reason that the Kadamba Great Masters, by the way, when I speak of the Kadamba Great Masters, you must have come across what is known as NKT. How many of you know NKT? 1, 2. Okay. Not much. Okay. NKT. So when I say Kadamba, I mention this with great reverence, but simply don't confuse between the labels. What I'm talking about is the one which inherited, one which existed since 11th century. 11th century through to 14th century. 11th century through to 14th century, the Kadamba tradition from Lama Disha. Then 14th century, Lama Tsongkhapa came. So this 11th through to 14th century is referred to as the old Kadamba tradition. Old Kadamba tradition. Then from Lama Tsongkhapa, 14th century down today, it came to be known as New Kadamba tradition. NKT. What's NKT? New Kadamba tradition. So you can get confused between Lama Tsongkhapa's tradition, which is also known as NKT, and today you go all over the world, you can hear NKT, 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 which is very dangerous. So let us not be confused between these two things. Simply because I mentioned this with great reverence to the Kadamba tradition, doesn't mean the NKT today. NKT today is very complicated. Stay away from that. So it is for this reason that when I meet with foreigners, meaning Westerners, from different countries of the world, so they ask me, okay, Geshe-la, now we're going to this country, that country, so forth, which Buddhist the centers should we go? So I used to tell them, see if there's any FPMT centers. If there's FPMT center, go there. Otherwise, be very cautious. If you see Theravada tradition, fine, go. And if you see the Tibetan traditions, if it is FPMT, go. But otherwise, if it is something like NKT, be very careful. Right? Be very careful. It can be very toxic. It can really harm you more than benefit. This is what I used to tell the people. Okay. So with this, what we learn here, this is so important. What we learn here is how to cultivate this universal compassion. Okay. Okay. So now, to summarize what we did thus far, is that the two methods, the sevenfold cause method and the method of equalizing experience of others, these two are very systematic steps, and if you do get time, I'll quickly go through them. But here I'm going to give the essence, the main engine of the Bodhisattva practice. So how to build this love and affection universally. This is what we are trying to do. So do you agree with me that what we call as, oh, by the way, Stephen, you have a question?
Oh, yeah, it was just on the stage of recognizing the kindness of others. And so I always get a little bit stuck on that, in that term kindness as opposed to benefit. It's very easy to see the benefit of others, but when we talk about the kindness of others, it's like there's an agency of the person. So a difficult person who gives us the context to practice, it's great benefit, but they're not doing it on purpose.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much. Okay. So please feel free to bring up any of these issues you feel that, okay, this does not really fit in so well. So let's say benefit is fine. Let's say the difficult person does not give you benefit, but it happens that the benefit comes to me from the difficult person rather than the difficult person giving me benefit. So the difficult person doesn't give him benefit. Difficult person, simply because of the interplay between me and the difficult person, benefit comes to me. I get the benefit. Versus, not versus. Alongside, parallel to that is the difficult person being kind to me. He's not kind to me. Kind is connotation. The person has some element, the person feels affinity or closeness to you, and then give you some benefit. Deliberately coming to give you benefit. That's meaning of the kindness, but the difficult person doesn't do that. So we cannot, technically in English, we cannot say the difficult person is kind to me. Okay. I agree with you. Yes, in some of the texts you do find the words like even difficult people, the kindness of the difficult person. So what we can do is, finally, what we should be doing is that our love and affection should flow towards the near and dear ones. Love and affection flow towards the neutral beings and towards the difficult people. our love and affection should flow towards all these three categories. When that happens, that is known as the universal love. So, how to make it happen? Is by remembering the benefit that you get. So what we put is that by seeing the kindness of all these beings. Now, how we put it more concretely is what Kusama said, by seeing the benefit that you get from these three groups, the near and dear ones, the neutral beings, and the different people. And with the word, say that I get benefit from the different person, that other person, the different person is being kind to me. So these two are very different. Very different. And later on, this is very strange. Okay, this is what you might have to remember. You may not feel it now, but you have to remember it. It's strange that when you start to feel this, when your mind starts to flow towards what we call as difficult person. So this word difficult is with respect to the people who sees you as a nasty person or undesirable person. When the mind starts flowing towards what is so-called difficult person, for you that person is not a nasty. So then, because of this person, because the person is not nasty, this is very strange how the mind works. Because with respect to you, the person is not nasty, your mind flows. For you, this person is extremely, say, beneficial. For example, the fan is extremely beneficial. This fan is not kind to me, but extremely beneficial to me. So why was this person so beneficial to me? And then when your mind flows, it's very strange, right? The small child just dirty the wall, and the mother sees as a painting. So your mind will see that person is being so kind to you. You'll see that. This is a very strange phenomenon how the mind works. So when your growth happens to some extent, where your mind starts to flow towards others, then anything the other person does is like being kind to you. You could feel it. This is beautiful experience. Okay, this is related to somebody, somehow through somebody you get a benefit versus somebody being kind to you. So this difference is made. At the same time, on the experiential level, when you reach that level, then these two may appear as same. But it is not the main point. The main point is that your mind should flow with affection towards all others, and this mind flows. The mechanism is by seeing the benefit that you derive from the other person. So for that matter, yes, you get the greatest benefit from the most difficult person. Okay, so the summary is that the bodhicitta. What is bodhicitta? Bodhicitta is, okay, let's be very tender. Anybody who likes to share with us what is bodhicitta? How would you put it in words? What is bodhicitta? Anyone? Just raise hands. Anyone? What is bodhicitta? Okay. And Sophie?
The wish to become Buddha for the benefit of the situation.
The wish to become Buddha. Wish to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. Is correct. To put it even more refined, it is let's put it like this, to make it very refined. A primary mind which wishes to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. This is the technical part, but generally speaking, in a very loose sense or in a vernacular sense, we can say wish to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. But in a technical sense, we add the word the primary mind which wishes to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. The primary mind. Okay, why this primary mind is added? Why this primary mind is added? This is the question. Okay, who is going to remind me later on why this word primary mind is added to the wish to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings? Anybody who wants to volunteer? Okay, Eric wants to volunteer. Good, thank you. You must remind me in between these 10 days. You remind me. Why this word? Because this little technical. Day one, if I go into the too much into technicalities, then some of you may feel a little, bored. Right? But I will be happy to do that. It's not difficult. It's a little technical. Okay. So what I'm saying is that this wish may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. From there, do you see that it is an element of the universal love? Do you see that? May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. When you say that, if it is wholehearted feeling, do you see the element of universal love? Do you see that? Yes. So the question is, how to build this universal love? What do I mean by universal love? Feeling of love and affection towards all the beings, all sentient beings. Right? So we ask whether it is possible. So the answer is, to see whether it's possible or not, what do you mean by all sentient beings? All sentient beings, we can't think of, you won't have enough time to think of each and every sentient being, even the human beings on this planet Earth. 7 billion, now hitting 8 billion human beings. And then how many insects, how many animals? If you think there are trillions and trillions, that's only about the planet Earth. And how many such planets are there in the Milky Way galaxy? Innumerable planets are there. The solar system that we live in is just a tiny dot in this vast expanse of the Milky Way galaxy. And how many such galaxies are there in the universe? Innumerable. Within the visible universe, there are innumerable galaxies there. And then what is invisible? We don't see. We can't see. Where the lights cannot really reach us at this point. How many of them are there? Innumerable. So, how can you think of each of the sentient beings? Don't worry. There is a mechanism by which to do that. So, all the beings, whether you see them, whether you don't see them, they all can be classified into 3 groups. The near and dear ones, the neutral beings, and the difficult people. Do you agree with me? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine any sentient being who doesn't fall under one of these 3 categories? Can you imagine any sentient being? No? Besides you, if somebody is a sentient being, must fall under one of these categories. Do you agree with me? If yes, you raise hands. Good. Now if you learn how to feel this love and affection towards the near and dear ones, that's easy. Towards the neutral beings, towards the different people. If you learn this, then whenever you see a different person or a neutral person, your feeling of love and affection will flow. Right? If you love the flower in France, if you love the flower in general, in France, wherever in the world you go, you see flowers, you'll be very happy. It's not necessary that, am I sure that I love the flower in Italy? Because I've never seen Italy, I've never seen the flower in Italy. Don't worry. If you love the flower in general, in the France, you go to Italy, you go to Nigeria, you go to Japan, wherever you go, you see the flowers, you love it. So likewise, if you learn how to embrace with love and affection towards the neutral beings and the difficult people, automatically your mind will flow towards all the beings. Okay, we have 7 minutes. So any question answers before we go further. So you have your personal questions about attending to, as a sick people or disease and so forth. Any question that you might have. Okay. Virginia.
Alors, sur l'hypothèse qu'on arrive à rester calme et serein même avec les personnes difficiles. Comment on fait pour rester calme avec les personnes difficiles qui font du mal aux autres? Je trouve que c'est un niveau encore au-dessus. C'est encore plus difficile de rester calme avec eux.
So, if we try to stay calm with regard to the difficult person, sometimes it's more difficult to stay calm when they are difficult with others.
Okay. That makes sense. Let's say you, person A, person B. Person A being nasty towards you. Person A being nasty towards B. So you may tolerate person A being nasty towards you, but you find it more difficult to tolerate person A being nasty towards B. That's true. Say somebody is being unkind towards mother can tolerate. But a person unkind towards her little child, mother cannot tolerate. Is that what you're saying? Good. Okay. So there, what is important is that, yes, this is a very practical question. What is important is that finally, that say your peace of mind, that is important. Your peace of mind is important. But how to cultivate this question? When person A is being harmful to you, the small child, you cannot tolerate this. How to do that? So the one thing that we need to keep in mind is the one thing that we need to keep in mind is think of long term, short term. This is one thing that you have to keep in mind. Long term, short term. I'll explain. Number 2 is don't expect perfection. Don't expect perfection. Expect the best within the given situation. 2 things. Number 1 is long term, short term. What do you mean long term, short term? Say, if the person is a little harsh towards the child, young child, you're totally innocent, little harsh. Say, if it is too much, you must go there to defend the child. You must go to defend the child, right? As somehow that the child must feel that you are there to protect. That is so important. Child must feel this sense of, say, security from you. This is so important. Whereas say it was what happened to somebody who's close to me. My sister's daughter, who was very little, must be like 10 years old. And my sister took her to somebody, that person is really nasty. And this child, this little girl, had been with her parents all the time. And anybody who comes there, to her family, to her parents, this child gets so much of attention, love from everybody. And one time, her mother took her to somebody supposed to be near the say like the close the family, and that person is a little nasty. Yeah. And somehow the mother my sister had to go somewhere where the child had to stay there for like half an hour. And the child could not believe that the world is very different when she was with her mother and when she was in this environment. She could not believe there was so much discrimination happening within this half an hour. And then the young child, this little girl, when left after the mother came and took her away, and then the child reported everything to the mother, how the discrimination was happening there within this half an hour. And the mother reported, my sister reported this to me. And I could feel the pain, how this child, as you said, when somebody is being nasty to us, a young, innocent child, it's very painful. At the same time, I told my sister that, okay, don't worry too much, long term. Eventually, this child has to learn how to face the reality of the world. The world is not your parents everywhere. One day, the child has to get out and is bound to face with these difficulties. In a way, this is like the first exposure to the world, right? She should not worry too much about that part. And of course, I also feel the pain, but on the other side, we have to think of the long-term benefit for the child. This is like the exposure, and the mother is there. The parents are there to take care of the child instantly. So long-term, yes, we have to learn how to take even the children. They have to learn how to face the reality of the world. This is one thing. But you should be always there to protect the child when the child goes through difficulties. This is one thing, long-term. Then within the given situation, don't expect the perfection. Don't expect perfection. Go for the best within the given situation. You should be happy. If the best thing is happening within the given situation, you should be happy. Because in any ways, you cannot expect better than this within this given situation. And then plus you are agitated, it becomes worse. It becomes worse. So, when the best thing is happening within a given situation, be happy. Be happy. And then think of the long term. In the long run, this is benefit. This is how the people learn how to face the challenges of life. This is how we can deal with the reality. Yeah. And particularly long term, let's not forget it. This long term, the long term plan, long term thought that will greatly ease you under difficult situations. Okay, more questions? Okay, no questions. Questions? No? Okay, which means the Virginia's question is very heavy. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll stop here. It's just 12:30 sharp. Okay. In fact, the Venerable Elizabeth is telling me that people come from different backgrounds with their own personal experience of taking care of the old age people or sick people and so forth. You have your own questions. So this is what we expect to do. And then okay, this afternoon we have one teaching for the NCC, another certificate course, and people are free to come, right? And you're free to come. And that's going to be on the WebEx on computer. So I'm going to do that on the laptop. You feel free to join if you have time. Okay. And then that's it. And so from tomorrow is 8 verses.
No, after tomorrow is 8 verses.
Okay. Day after tomorrow. Yes. Thursday and Friday. Yeah. Okay. So what we do is that tomorrow, then we'll have we'll do in more detail how to feel this love and affection towards the neutral beings, and how to they feel this love and affection towards the different people, how to practice this. So in this connection, then what Dominic said of the Tonglen, all this will come there. So this is what we'll cover tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. And if you have questions, please feel free to bring them up. Okay. Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata. Okay, let's make 3 prostrations.